Hey everyone, Erica here, and welcome back to Raising Light Babies. Okay, so can we just be real for a second? We've all been there. That moment where you're like, I'm done. I quit. This is too hard. You've tried everything, you've pushed yourself to the limit, and you just keep hitting this wall. And if you're like me, Sagittarius, you might add a little something something. Like, and your food sucked. And then want to go back in a week and talk about, I'm sorry. But you won't, because your mama didn't raise no wimp. But I'm going to tell you something else that my mom told me. It's not supposed to be easy. It's supposed to be worth it. Big difference. So how do we make sure we're going after things that are actually worth it? That's what we're diving into today. Now, here's what nobody talks about. When you're at that breaking point and you want to quit, your body is literally telling you, it's screaming at you to stop. Like you'll feel the physically, like your chest gets tight and your stomach is in knots, you can't sleep, your head is pounding. And here's the trap. When you finally give up and walk away, all those symptoms, they disappear. They do. And so you feel so good. That relief hits and you're like, see, I knew that was the right decision. But hold on. Because when that week hits, a week later, that relief feeling is not the same as peace. Relief is when you set down something heavy because your arms are tired. But peace is when you carry that thing all the way home and you set it down because you're done. Relief is temporary. Trust me, once it wears off, the regret creeps in. But peace is permanent. Relief comes from running away, but peace comes from pushing through. So today I want to talk about the one thing that separates the people who quit too early from the people who make it to the breakthrough. Stay with me. They stay. The person who quits early is just reacting to how they feel in that moment. They're uncomfortable. They're stressed. They think, nope, this can't possibly be for me. And honestly, I get it. That's literally what our brains are designed for. They're designed to help us avoid pain. Psychologists call this avoidance coping. And it's a real thing. But here's the secret sauce to making it through to the other side of whatever obstacle. You need to get crystal clear on the who, what, when, where, why, and how before everything falls apart, before the storm hits, before the doubt creeps in, before you even start any type of commitment. That's what separates the people who make it from the people who don't. Okay? So most of us make decisions based on a desire. I want that car. I want that house. I want a new job. Whatever. I want to lose weight. And desire is great. It gets you started. But desire alone isn't enough to carry you through when life throws everything it's got at you. The pivotal step, and I can't stress this enough, is asking yourself the right questions before you commit to something. Now, this is going to sound random, but bear with me. My favorite movie of all time, the only movie that I actually own is called The Royal Tenenbaum, and it's by Wes Anderson. And if you've seen it, you'll know that there's a theme of like tombstones and epitaphs which is the writing on the tombstone that goes through the entire movie. In the beginning, when Royal goes to the cemetery with his kids, he like randomly talks about a tombstone that some other guy, like, he's like, man, that's an awesome tombstone. Then when everyone thinks he's dying, he hands his wife like a copy of his epitaph. He's like, here's what I want them to write on my tombstone. Make sure there's no grammatical errors. And then when they introduce all of the characters of the movie, they even do it in a style that reads like an epitaph. And to me, that speaks of something really specific, because an epitaph is basically like a life purpose distilled into one sentence. So Royal's obsession with it really is really asking the question we should all be asking ourselves: what do I want to be known for? What do I want my life to mean? What values am I trying to embody? That answer, that deep personal answer, that's your purpose. That's the nucleus. That's where everything flows from. For me, I want to raise a generation that can thrive no matter what the future throws at them. That's it. That's my North Star. So every decision I make, I ask myself, does this serve that purpose? Here's how I break it down. I ask myself, from that big life purpose, I create directives. These are the massive things that could take decades to achieve. Then those directives are going to get broken down into goals. Stuff that I can achieve in 1 to 5 years. And those goals are going to go down into tasks, which are weekly, monthly, quarterly habits that can actually move the needle towards that big, huge, humongous goal that I have. So before I change anything in my daily routine, I spend time getting clear on how that change serves my purpose, long, medium, and short term. When you ask yourself, what do I want my life to mean? How am I going to get there? How does this fit into my life right now? You shift from wishful thinking and like inspiration to intentional decision making. And once you've said yes with that kind of clarity, that urge to quit loses its power. Okay, another thing that's been a game changer for me is habit stacking. Have you heard of this? It's basically attaching a new habit to something you already do automatically. Like, I stack my workouts to morning drop off. As soon as I drop my son off, I head straight to the gym. No thinking, no deciding. It's just what happens next. Or with my son, he attaches his toothbrushing to showering. So when he's out of the shower, he steps out of the shower and grabs his toothbrush. It's automatic. He doesn't have to think about it because he already made that decision a long time ago that brushing your teeth is worth it. That going to the gym is worth it. And another, to me it's intended, benefit of stacking, habit stacking, is that, at least for kids, I do it in hopes that when he gets older, his normal, for example, another example besides the cleaning is how I always keep his room clean. If he doesn't have time to clean his room, I'll clean it for him. Not because I'm a clean freak or because I'm a control freak, but because I hope that his normal, that he will be triggered later on in life by an unclean room, which will cause him to clean his room. He will be used to living in a clean space. My hope is that when he goes to college or when he gets his first apartment, a messy room will be uncomfortable for him. Like his baseline will be order and not chaos. Now I know what you're thinking, but Erica, there has to be a point where you reevaluate, right? Like, what if I'm on the wrong path? For real though. What do? I just keep going forever? Well, I say yes, absolutely. There is a time to reevaluate. But here's the key. You don't reevaluate in the moment of exhaustion, of feeling like you want to quit. You reevaluate in a specific moment of calm and an intentional break from the routine. My mom used to tell me about this couple that she knew that would sit down together every single year and review their progress on their goals. And it wasn't to doubt, it wasn't to blame, it wasn't to think about quitting, but rather to check the progress, to see how it was working out for them, to tweak the routine in a way that could get them to their goal faster. For me personally, I have two of those reflection points each year. One in the summer, where I reevaluate my daily habits because of the fact that I have so many habits stacked along the school schedule, that when school ends, that's my time to think about what worked and what didn't work. And the other is that magical, wonderful time of year, the 3 weeks between my birthday, Christmas, and New Year's. And that's when I do the deep evaluating about my purpose, my progress, how I want to tweak, what I'm going to try. Another approach could be to give yourself 90 days, like in the same way that you are given 90 days when you start a new job. After implementing any change, you tell yourself, all right, I'm going to implement this change for 90 whole days. I'm not going to ask myself if I want to quit. I'm not going to reevaluate until that 90 days are over. Then I will sit down and have a real think about whether I want to continue this long term. That way, when obstacles show up, your brain doesn't even think, should I quit? Because you already have a plan. You already set the directive. You already know where you're going. And you know that it's not time yet. Right now, and you know it's just time to push. And because this is Raising Light Babies, let's bring this back to our kids. Our children aren't going to learn just from us setting goals. They're going to learn and see how we stick to them. They're going to learn and see how we react to discomfort because they've already chosen. Because we have already chosen our path. They're going to see that we do what we said we were going to do. They learn that good stuff, the breakthrough, the peace, the growth, lives on the other side of discomfort, and that discomfort is not a reason to stop. And that, my friend, is a legacy that's worth leaving. So remember, relief might feel good in the moment, but peace comes from seeing it through. Don't let the inevitable obstacles derail you from the bigger vision. You've already decided. Now you just need to execute. You are the foundation. You are the chain breaker, and you're the beginning of the legacy. Thanks for being here. I'll catch you in the next episode. Bye.